Who is this bitch? Who is she? I think she's definitely not a full elf. I think she's a half elf. Either a dragon soul sorcerer or maybe... What the fuck is the other one I'm thinking of? What the fuck? I think she's probably a dragon soul sorcerer. Maybe not half elf. You know what? I think she's a fire genasi. Genasi? Genasi? Yeah. And her name is... Carmen Fuego. Carmen Sandifuego. I hated that. Did you hear that burp get squeezed out of me? Here, let's have a real one. Now the real one's not coming. What the fuck? Don't worry, though. It's cooking. She'll be there. Hail and well met, traveler. It's me, Daisy Maize. Happy days. Unhinged. That's right. We're back, fuckers. For season 3. Season 3. Season Trace. Season Trio. Season... Trois. Of my YouTube series, Booning and Baining. I've switched to my handheld mic because it makes me feel real. I've switched to my bedroom because it's a little bit cooler in here and it's summer, so gotta get it where I can. And you are looking at the very first look of this brand new season in which I am giving you Fire Elf Fantasy. All my Wizard 101 players, you know Fire Elf is the best. You know she's where it's at. Should I not out myself as a Wizard 101 player? Is that bad? Listen, everybody needs hobbies, okay? It was that or crystal meth. So, see, my guts are like churning. It's this corset. Beauty is pain, after all. And I must be gorgeous. I hope. Anyway, welcome back. What's that? Oh, you don't know what Booning and Baining is? Well, guess the fuck what? I'm gonna explain it to you. Booning and Baining is my YouTube series where I take a seemingly irrelevant topic and absolutely dissect it in a way that it did not ask for, does not deserve.
And will suffer in all of eternity the fiery pits of my power.
Anyway, it's basically a pros and cons list about a random topic, but instead we're getting fancy. We're using boons and banes because together it sounds like booning and baiting. Have you understood that joke in the 2 seasons prior? Because I really hope you have, because I tried so hard to make it obvious, and I don't know if I succeeded, but I had a great time trying. Now you will see that one episode later on in this season, a Crackerjack episode in fact, is actually going to still be filmed in the basement. That's because I filmed that one first. I didn't know where it was going. I just was in Jack's costume and I wanted to talk about his topic. So I did. There will probably be some other Jack episodes as well. It depends on how often I bring him back. But, you know, he's in his room right now playing with his Roblox and he is currently losing. So... You know, I gave him like a family pack of Dunkaroos and like a whole 6-pack of Kool-Aid Jammers. I haven't seen him in days. He'll be fine. But just know that when his episode comes, it's even more out of order than all of these other ones. Of course, now seems like a good time to introduce you to today's topic. You may have noticed my lovely ears here. And I thought about making this about something specific like elves or goblins or pointy ears. And while that may be an episode in the distant future, I wanted to get a little broader this time. Broader for a broad like me. We are talking about fantasy. Yeah, we are running the gambit today. For this season, for season 3, we are starting off strong with one of my favorite topics of all time, and that is fantasy. Fantasy is probably my favorite genre of all time. I just finished reading The Hobbit for the first time, and I'm on Fellowship of the Ring. I'm excited to finally read the latest in a long line of fantasy series that I have grown up with. I love fantasy. Fantasy is so fun. I love Renaissance fairs. I love LARPs, although I've never been to one, but I want to. I want to experience that one day. Eventually. I'm not sure how to get into it. I also have to be in the right mindset for me to say yes to anything, so there's a lot of factors at play here. All I know is that fantasy is so great. I can tell you now it's going to be a boon. Before the end of this list, it's going to be a boon. But, you know, it's fun to go through the motions anyway. Let's show our work. I'm going to show you my work of how I got to this conclusion. And, you know, where a great place to start talking about that is? The start. With Boon number one. Boon number one is that it's weird me being on the other side of the frame here. I'm not used to it. Whoa. Anyway, boon number one is that fantasy is the best escape I know. Even if you take fantasy in the broad sense of just fiction, fantasy is so great. Fantasy video games, fantasy tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, fantasy live events like Renaissance fairs, like LARPs, which is live-action role-playing for you fucking civvies out there. I said civvies, not skivvies. Put your pants back on. Fuck. You. All of these forms of fantasy are such great ways to escape. To kind of just set aside your real life for a minute and experience something different. And we all need that escape, okay? Some of us really need that fucking escape, alright? Do you think I do this because it's lucrative? Do you think I do this because the men eat it up? No. I'm flat broke and no one wants to fuck me. I'm doing this because I like the fantasy, the escapism of it. It's great. And I'll probably never stop for that reason. Much to everyone's dismay. Everybody groan in the comments section now. When she quit. Fuck you, that's why. Because I don't see any other cartoon clowns busting it down all over town, quite like me when I wear my gown. I'm Bob the Drag Queen. Get ready for my verses coming next week. Of course, not everything about escapism is great. Such as with Bane number 2. The second Bane of fantasy is that it becomes really easy to get addicted to that kind of escapism. I mean, you look at those people who have had World of Warcraft accounts since the game started and have spent literally thousands of dollars on the game. And I'm glad for them. I have my games like that. Wizard 101 is one of them. Elder Scrolls Online is one of them. The Secret World and Secret World Legends. Love. But it's very easy to make that your entire life. It can be very easy to get lost in the escapism of it and neglect your real life responsibilities. I don't know if any of you here on YouTube could ever relate to such a thing. I mean, but like, try to suspend your disbelief for a minute here and just like stay with me on this like fictional journey I'm taking you on. We're gonna imagine what if we had a problem with being addicted to escapism. It's wild, right? Bear with me. It's gonna be such a fun experiment. I actually paid for this Walmart 2-piece. Quite happy with it. I even paid for the Goodwill coat. For once, I think I actually bought everything I'm wearing. Well, except the makeup. Even thieves are better in fantasy. And that's actually a great segue into boon number 2. The most mundane things seem more exciting in fantasy settings. You think about blacksmithing. Cool. Swords and metal weapons are cool, but like, we just like collect them. We don't fight each other with them, which is probably for the best, obviously. But in fantasy settings, you use those fuckers. In fantasy settings, the blacksmith is like a whole user interface shop situation. Love that. Love shopping and paying for things. Love that. But I mean, if we're going to talk about that for a second, stealing is really cool in a fantasy setting. I'm talking the rogues. I'm talking the Robin Hoods. I'm talking the Nightblades in Elder Scrolls Online. You know where it's at, girl. You know where it's at. But of course I would have nothing to say on that subject. Nothing at all. Oh, I almost knocked off my ear. My real flesh and blood ear. The piercing at Claire's went really wrong. And they had to take the whole ear. Oh, no. Anyway, Bane number 2 is that the whimsy and joy associated with fantasy versions of regular everyday things kind of contrasts the very harsh reality of those things that we have to do every day. Going on a shopping spree in a video game is so fun. You earned out all that gold for this purpose. But going on a shopping spree in real life? Bitch, you needed that money for something. You needed it for the food, for the clothes, for the heat, for the utilities, for the rent. For the drug dealer, you needed it for a lot of things. And you didn't do it. So now you're having to do the non-fun, non-fictional version of stealing, which actually sends you to jail. Or at least gets you kicked out of Walmart. Not that I would know anything about that. This is like, at the beginning I said that this was like a Fire Ganassi Dragon Soul Sorcerer. I think she multi-classed into Rogue. I don't think there's any bard in here, though, unless it's glamour bard. Then maybe. Boon number 3, though. The penultimate boon. And this one might surprise you, but it's something I've been learning in real time, for better or worse. Fantasy is surprisingly good for tackling real issues. I'm currently writing a book. Writing a book. And I'm using a D&D campaign that I had during the time where I was going through the struggles that I talk about in this book, in order to mirror the real-life events that coincided with them. Fantasy has proven a really, really solid way of me processing how things actually went down in my life, where I fucked up, where others fucked me over, and just in general, how to better approach being a real person. Surprising. Shocking, I know. I really didn't expect it. But that's part of why I started writing the book, so I guess I did kind of expect it. I wanted to process the things that went down in my life, and this ended up being a really great way to start doing that. Fantasy, and fiction in general, but especially fantasy, presents a heightened atmosphere where we can live out the dramatic fantasies that we wish we had, or that we know we can't, or that we want to relive, something like that. Or maybe create sort of a facade or sort of a shimmery veneer over something actually stressful that happened to us. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but how are you going to get any hindsight if you can't bear to look at what happened? So sometimes putting a fantasy filter over that makes it easier to look at, and then you can go from there into the processing of things. And I think fantasy is an excellent tool for that. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings just before or just after World War II, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he served in the military, so it was part of his way of processing those experiences, I'm sure, was put into writing this story about a larger-than-life, much bigger than him, and much bigger than he could comprehend struggle. So it's just like, it's very interesting to see how people will use fantasy to process or not process things, escape things. Back to boon number 1. And bane number 2 brings us to when that doesn't work out. And I'm unfortunately going to use Stephenie Meyer's Twilight series as an example of that. Don't ever use that book series as a framework for what a good relationship looks like. Literally everybody in that series is terribly possessive, gaslighty, gatekeepy, just across the board. Not a girl boss to be found. The female characters aren't even written very well, and it's disappointing. This is an example of when fantasy missed the mark on presenting useful information and making people feel like they could process something. Maybe like an abusive relationship, maybe like a possessive relationship, or maybe just like a sudden change that they don't know how to deal with, or feeling ostracized. Something, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, the actual town that Forks is based on, or is it Forks? I don't remember what the actual name of it is. It might be Forks. For a while there was a sundown town. If you don't know what a sundown town is, essentially the gist of it is, if you're not white, you're going to want to get out of there by sundown. That's kind of the vibe. That's kind of the vibe of what a sundown town was. And you find in these sundown towns that it's a little harder for old habits to die in any way that's not hard. You know what I mean? So that's one point against it. The other point is that Stephenie Meyer's heavily used Mormon themes and some highly religious undertones in her book, which does not a good relationship basis make. So across the board, that's an example of when somebody else's fantasy can have actual detrimental effects. But overall, you already know what I'm going to say. Fantasy is a boon, baby. I couldn't ever call it anything other than that. Fantasy is such an Fantasy is such an important part and aspect of my life that if I didn't have that magic, that escape, that other world, I probably would not be here at all today. And I'm sure some of you are like, oh, damn it, we almost got rid of her. First of all, thank you for calling me her. I know the person saying that probably isn't the kind to respect pronouns, but in any case, fantasy got me through some of the hardest parts of my life. And I know for a fact that it's gotten a lot of you through the worst parts of your lives, too. So, Fantasy is obviously and unequivocally a boon. Unequivocally? Undoubtedly a boon. Love it. Love it. And if you loved this, I would love it if you would like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and hit that nifty little notification button so that you get an alert every time I post some more plant-based, cross-dressing, cartoon, cotton candy, clowny content. It's been a while since I said that. I don't think I even said it in the Jack video, so I'm very out of practice. But yeah, this has been a blast, and I'm so glad to be back for Season 3. Whether anybody watches or not, this is mostly for me at this point. It's mostly for me. You know, if you do what you love, then you'll never work a day in your life. I believe Trixie Mattel said that on the popular television series Letterkenny. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, do those things that I said just now to support my channel. It really helps me out, and I love to see it. And it tells me that I'm not making these for no reason. Which, I'm not making these for no reason anyway. Like I said, I enjoy them. But yeah, I am once again Daisy Maize, and I am wishing you the happiest of fantastical days. Mwah. Bye. Bye now. Goodbye, Arthur. Goodbye, Arthur. Good luck slaying the dragon. I will be right here waiting for you to return and rescue me. Is what I would say if he hadn't been gone for 15 years already. I don't think he's coming back. Oh, dear. Well, I suppose I will just have to take matters into my own hands. That's not the way to solve your problems. It's not the way. J.K. Rowling is never the way to solve your problems.